start. So thank you very much, Tom, for this time. You are going to be one of the key speakers within FIAD next month of June. And we are going to be listening to you talking about the trends in learning and development. I know there are going to be a lot of attendees really eager to listen to you, to listen to your insights. So what can attendees expect from your presentation?
A very boring presentation, no.
I don't think so.
So one, it's a super honor for me to address the participants and to be part of your conference. So that's one. And so and my name is I'm Tom Haak. I'm the director of the HR Trend Institute. Huh? So that's always good to know. And I try to keep track of what are the trends generally in the world of work, people and organizations.
Mm-hmm.
What people can expect is that they learn that most of those trends are not very the trends don't change every day. Most of the trends are there and have been there for a long time. We are talking about mega trends that take years and years and years to develop. So that's one. It's interesting that in the world of work and the world of HR, we are rather slow in using the trends and adapting to the trends. So the trends are there, but we're using it very slowly. And the reality is that in the domain of learning and organization, it's even worse. So what people can, one of my key messages is there are huge opportunities to improve the way we are dealing with learning and development. And I will just mention you two things now. And I will, of course, in my keynote, I will deliver more. But one is the dimension of, you could say, personalization. Personalization is a long-term trend, and it's about, are you willing and able to take the individual needs, capabilities, wishes of people into account, and then personalize your offering. We can learn a lot there from the marketing domain. If you look in the learning and development domain, many solutions are still kind of, one size fits all. We think we know who you are, and here is our offering. For example, in the area of onboarding, I'm sure you have been part of onboard. Generally, onboarding, well, the new employees are gathered and the company says, we know what you need, new employees, a lot of information about our organization. And there they go. Yeah. But that's not personalization. That is, and it doesn't work well. So personalization, enormous opportunities in the world of learning and development. Another dimension is, you could say, the use of technology. And not the use of technology to do old things in a modern way. We all know, of course, online learning, and it's as old. But still, if you look at what's happening in online learning, most of it is old-fashioned stuff in a new package. And you go to an online library and you can watch videos and you can watch professors, but that is not using the technology in a really innovative, good way. If you use technology in a good way and the opportunities are there, then you are able to get very close to the actual work people are doing. And that's a concept that's also, I will talk about that, and not people will know it, but that's about learning in the flow of work. And that's the question, how can you get as close as possible to the actual work people and teams are doing, instead of having a disconnect? And I don't know what your experience is, but often there's a large disconnect between the work, and the learning experience. Still, surprisingly, many learning solutions are delivered in classroom, whether virtual or actual classrooms, but classroom learning is still one of the most used interventions in the learning and development domain. So just two elements, and I will talk about more in at the conference, but the key message is there are huge opportunities if we would use the trends to improve the learning and development domain a lot.
Tom, when you mentioned to personalize, if we think about big organization, is it possible to do something like that? Is it possible to convey that we are going to personalize this to every single employee or to different groups of employees, something
Absolutely.
that it is?
Absolutely. HR has difficulty with that. They like to things for everybody, standardized for everybody, the same solution. But that does not work. And we know, and people have the experience in their private life, that other providers are using that. People are used to have Netflix. People are used to have Spotify. People are used to have an Apple Watch. So they know that it's possible. At least, and my local supermarket, this is the bonus card of my local supermarket. My local supermarket tracks me. They know what I buy, when I buy it. So they are trying to tailor an offering which fits me. They don't say, Tom, he's older, he lives in the suburbs, and he has some money on the bank, so we know what he needs. No, they're not saying that. They say, we try to get as close as possible to. This is also, of course, possible in the workplace if we take the effort. If you look at a couple of dimensions, for example, I'll take an example outside the learning and development domain, but which is very actual. That's about working from home. Yeah, in the current COVID crisis, many companies have said people have to work from home. That is, in a sense, stupid to say to everybody, if possible, of course, you have to work from home. If you personalize, and companies are starting to do that now, you start to look at dimensions for personalization. In home working, there are a couple of dimensions. One is the type of work. Some work is not suitable to do from home. Also, creative work, for example, innovation, research and development, you need the collaboration, you need strange encounters, you need casual collisions for your creative work. So the type of work is one dimension. The personality of people is another dimension. For some people, they are not very effective if they have to work alone. Other people, they flourish. If you're more introverted, well, I think, well, that is good. I'm not disturbed, etc. So personality is another dimension. Home situation is a dimension. Do you have a good home? Do you have a good study? Or are your children walking around? Is your partner in conference calls the whole day? And so even on those three dimensions, you can start to personalize. And well, I will talk about personalization and the learning, but it's not. You cannot say it's not possible. It is absolutely possible if you want it.
Yeah, that's right. Because I believe organizations, the learning within organizations is something that it is really important, and all organizations are looking and seeking for it. And they do have the information because we think about that. They know what employees are doing. They know when they are doing it. They know their objectives. So it is really possible to customize this learning, or at least to try to do it.
Yeah, but then you also should take an effort to find out what people actually are doing and what the level of their skills is. Well, in many professions, that's not so easy. But let's start with the easier profession. But in many professions, it's not so easy to find out what the level of skill, and the higher you come in the organization, the worse it is. If you talk about leaders and well, we don't know anything about that, how they are actually performing. So we waste a lot of money by sending all our managers and leaders to all kinds of training and management courses and management programs. Well, most of them, to be honest, it's a waste of money. Because we don't know. We don't know.
So when you mentioned to personalize the learning, and then you mentioned all the, I'm sorry, everything connected to the internet and Netflix and the formats of learning, that everything is like the same thing, because you are saying we should know as HR or as an organization, how should our employees learn better?
Yeah.
You're talking about technology and how to apply it. So you think that those things are going to be, in a way, sharing the same information, how an employee learns and what he or she needs to learn. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So you have to develop ways to find out what people are actually doing, preferably at the moment they are doing it. And not by letting them fill in a questionnaire. No, observe people when but in this conversation is an example. We are talking to each other. I might be selling you something. Yeah. If this would be a sales call, there is software which can record real time what we are doing, at least what I am doing. It looks at my movements. It looks at my eye contact. It looks at the content of what I'm saying. So based on my actual behavior, the software can start to feed me suggestions on how to improve my performance. For example, saying, Tom, you have not asked any question. Yeah. So Tom, ask a question. Hey, Valeria, what do you think about this subject? And have you experienced it? And so this is learning in the flow of work. Technology observing me, and the technology giving me hints and feedback to improve my performance. Because also if we rely too much on human feedback, that's not good enough. It helps to have it. It's not good enough.
Probably it's not that objective as the way probably technology does.
Yeah, it's not objective and it's not good enough, because because there's not only a few things you can really observe, and you will know that many managers don't have a clue what their people actually are doing. But they just, they say, well, yeah, okay. And then they give poor feedback. They say, Tom, you are doing a good job. Good luck. Well, yeah, that's not very helpful feedback.
Well, that's not even a feedback, I would say.
Yeah, well, it's some kind of feedback, but it's not very helpful. Yeah.
Tom, and when you get together with people working in large organizations or small organizations, after they listen to you, what is their feeling? How do they start working? What kind of questions do they get to you? I mean, what kind of questions do you receive? Because I imagine that when people start listening to you, a lot of questions started popping up in their heads. So how do you start doing this change that you are talking about?
Yeah, so I hope that people feel inspired and not that's what not depressed. Yeah, but I assume and I hope people will feel inspired. Say there's a lot of opportunities. Yeah, and then the question could be what you're saying: where to start, and that's important. And there most of the time the answer is start with your most burning organizational issues. Start with your most and many people don't do that. They say we have to implement this and we have to implement and then they are working on issues. And if you really ask them, is this the most important issue in your organization? People say, well, yeah, maybe not. Huh?
Maybe.
And it helps enormously to have that focus. But then you should know what those issues are and what the issues of the clients are. Because it's not, of course, not only about the organization, but it's also about the clients of the organization, whether you're a public or a private organization. So that's one answer, is start with those burning issues. And another answer is start in an agile way. And that's about implement and learn agile methodology. So it's also starting small, starting with experiments, build prototypes, develop quickly, go quickly to your clients or stakeholders and say, does this work? What do you think of it? So that combination makes that your solutions are actually working. And then you can expand if it works. If it doesn't work, you have to find other ways. So that would be one of my second answers. So priorities, burning issues, and applying agile methodologies. And the third one, it's connected to the second one, but I'm now giving my whole lecture maybe. That's about applying analytics. People analytics, learning analytics, but know what you're doing, because you have to find what works and what does not work. You have to find that out, and don't work on assumptions, but work on analytics and use, number 4, use scientific knowledge. And there's a lot of knowledge at our universities and published, a lot of knowledge that is not used. And let's use that knowledge, because there's a lot of knowledge we can use today. And let's not work on our assumptions too much.
So, and just to finish this interview, do you think that HR people or organizations in general, when they listen to your message, do they have an optimistic view about what might be the result of this, working with analytics, with agile? I mean, having a specific and hard data about how to continue in the learning process within an organization.
Yeah, and I, as I said, I hope people are inspired and optimistic, and that they have a clue what to do. But if they don't have a clue, maybe they are in the wrong position. Yeah. So because we also need, it's also about what skills do we need in the profession. And you have mentioned already a few things, but the ability to work with scientific knowledge, the ability to work with data, the ability to understand technology, the ability to understand the business organizational issues, well, that requires a certain skill set of people.
Is there, in like a personal opinion, is there, are there countries or are there societies more prepared for this kind of change? Or is this like a global issue?
And the trends are global, the developments are global, but the pace and the speed of implementation, there are differences. And yeah, geographical differences, but also differences in segments. Generally, very crudely, organizations that have more money can afford to spend more money on these type of innovations and technology. But it's not only a matter of money. So you see a lot of variety. But my key message, as I said in the beginning, is the speed of implementation could be a lot higher. And that's a puzzle. Also, why is it not? Why are people so caught up in their old organizational models and their old organizational framework? That's another discussion. So I'm optimistic, but please, let's use all the opportunities.
All right, thank you. So you are optimistic. That's the best message.
Absolutely. Otherwise, I would be.
Or you would not be here, in fact.
No, then I would sit on the beach.
All right.
Or
So
in an institution. No.
Thank you very much, Tom, for the time. I understand that a lot of people are going to be really happy about listening to you and seeing you during your conference within FIAD. It's going to be the 1st of June. You are going to be one of the key speakers within the event. So thank you for your time. Have a beautiful day.
So I'm looking forward, and have a nice weekend.